Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're talking about Nicole. Because after we watched 3 whole episodes of Nicole and Mahmoud's nasty fight unfold—
Shut up, Mahmoud.
Stop. This last fight might be the last time we ever see them. So let's talk about it. We catch up with the two of them after Mahmoud finally escaped Nicole's apartment and is now wandering the streets of LA to find a hotel. Nicole's friend Julian chases after Mahmoud, I guess to try to help or to calm down the situation, but instead just kind of makes it worse by repeatedly barking at Mahmoud to just sit down over and over again.
Just sit down. Sit down. I'll leave you alone. Just sit down. Just sit down. I'll leave you alone. I won't even talk to you. Just sit down.
While Nicole talks to her girlfriends back at the apartment.
I wish that you guys didn't see that. I'm embarrassed, actually.
Nicole admits that she's embarrassed that her friends had to see that whole altercation, which, I mean, I guess that's a good first step in the general direction of admitting that she was wrong, but it really is the absolute bare minimum. But any amount of credit I was going to give Nicole gets immediately thrown out the window, because then we get the justifications.
Furious because for the last 4 years, I've done nothing but try as hard as I can to make this work. I feel like, when does he have to try?
You heard it here first, folks. Nicole is the only one who's done anything for their relationship. I get if you're in the middle of a fight and then you're kind of saying, well, I'm the only one who does anything around here and you don't do anything and I'm the good one and you're the bad one. I understand in the heat of a fight, I mean, it's still not right, but at least I get that. But all this time later, in the one-on-ones when she's reflecting on this, she still thinks this is all about her and that she hasn't done anything wrong. Also, keep that statement from her in mind because it'll come up later. So she's mad at Mahmoud, but also mad at herself and regrets confronting Mahmoud the way she did.
I really regret saying anything to him when we got back. I should have just let the night be like a fun night for everybody. Instead, it turned into like drama, and I feel terrible about it.
She says she feels terrible, and if anyone else said that, then I would generally assume that they therefore must feel kind of bad about what they did. Maybe they have some remorse, or maybe even that they're sorry for acting that way. But given everything else we've seen from Nicole up until this point, I don't think that's a safe assumption to make. You'll see why later, but I'm not convinced that Nicole feels any remorse for what she's done, or that she has any sense inside her that maybe she did something wrong. Anyway, Nicole calls to check on Mahmoud and see where he is, but then also immediately gets mad and barks at him again.
I need you to tell me what you're going to do.
So going to stay at a hotel.
Where? What hotel?
So she cares about him, I guess, but just not enough to not be a jerk for more than 5 seconds at a time. Then we hear again from Nicole about how Mahmoud doesn't know anything, doesn't know how to find a hotel, and how he's basically just an incompetent child.
He doesn't even know anything about like the streets of LA. He's never been outside of Egypt, so like I'm worried about him.
And that's the thing. I'm sure she does care a little bit, at least somewhere inside of her. But even if we accept that maybe 10% of what she's feeling right now is genuine care for him, the other 90% still looks a lot like anger and hatred. But despite Nicole's insistence that Mahmoud can't take care of himself, Mahmoud hangs up the phone, books a hotel, and gets the producers to drive him there to the hotel.
Love is not enough for marriage, I think. Somehow I think it's over now.
We catch up with Mahmoud the next day after he spent the night in the hotel, and after a night of yelling, fighting. Well, it was really more one-directional. It was really just Nicole yelling and fighting with Mahmoud, you know? Mahmoud didn't really do anything back. After all of that, I was expecting Mahmoud to be angry or something like that. But instead, he just seems kind of confused and kind of defeated.
I don't know, I'm so confused. Somehow, like, I'm still, like, love here, but somehow I feel like I can't be with here.
He's trying to figure out what the hell's gone into Nicole. Has she always been like this? Does she hate me now? What gives? And it's worth noting that even in this situation, he's also wondering, is there something about the way I showed up that makes her afraid that I'm going to change her life here? Which, I don't know, maybe I'm biased because we just watched a lot of scenes where Mahmoud was the clear victim, but it looks like there's at least an opening for a possibility of understanding from Mahmoud, which is not something we can say about Nicole. So, after Mahmoud gets his tea, he talks to Nicole on the phone. And Okay, it's the next day, right? Next day, definitely not drunk. She's had all this time to sober up, to collect herself, to calm down, and still, she picks up the phone and immediately chooses violence. He asks, "How do you feel?" She says, "Terrible. How about you?" He says, "Sad, after everything you did last night." And she says, "Well, maybe I did bad things last night because I was mad at you."
About everything you did last night.
Well, maybe I was just mad at you, Mahmoud.
So her defense is, maybe I was an asshole because I was mad. That's her defense. That's her way of admitting that she was wrong. Just imagine how delusional you'd have to be to even try to use that as an excuse in any other scenario. Yes, Your Honor, I did punch that barista, but in my defense, I was mad. Can you imagine if Mahmoud did everything to Nicole that Nicole did to Mahmoud last night? The yelling, the cussing, Nicole having to run away to a hotel to get away from it all. And the next day, Mahmoud calls up Nicole and is like, "Hey, have you ever considered that maybe the reason I did all that stuff was because you made me so mad?" Can you imagine how messed up of an excuse that would be if he tried to do that? But all right, let's hear her out. Let's try to be fair. What is it exactly that Mahmoud did that made you so mad, Nicole?
You were mean to me all day long.
She says, "I was mad at you because you were being mean to me the whole day, and I don't know, we weren't there, maybe that's true."
And then you don't go to meet my friends, and then they're completely disappointed and shocked that you weren't there because the whole thing was about meeting you.
That he didn't go out to meet her friends, which, okay, I guess that's an inconvenience. But also, what? Did they fly all the way from frickin' Europe for this dinner? Is it really that big of a deal? And lastly, the gravest of all sins.
And then you lied to him and said you're just tired, that's why you couldn't make it.
He did not want to air out their dirty laundry in front of some people that he's never met before. You messed up, Mahmoud. But Nicole goes on.
The moment you're back with your friend, you was meaning to me.
Yeah, because I'm mad, Mahmoud, at you, because since you got here, you've done nothing but cause problems for me.
3 days, done nothing but cause problems for me. Yeah, your adjustments to this entire country and way of life, this really big, important thing for you, that has done nothing but cause problems for me.
You've done nothing but cause problems for me.
For me. For me. You cause problem. You cause problem for me. You life, my problem. You adjust to new life. Big problem for me. Then she's mad he used her credit card for the hotel, but he says it was just because his card didn't work in America and that he would pay her back. And he did pay her back later, so this was kind of nothing.
I was trying to use this money, okay?
You didn't tell me. You just did it.
And then Nicole says this.
For the last 3 days, you've done nothing but cause problems. And you know what else? For the last 4 years, that's all you've done, actually.
And really, there's nothing else you can say to this if you're Mahmoud. You're stupid, you've always been stupid, and you always will be stupid. Okay, guess we're done here.
I'm here trying to accept her life, to give myself a chance to be with her. But if she feel completely she can't stand me on don't like me, no way, we'll be together.
Mahmoud comes back to Nicole's place to get his stuff, as they agreed, and then we hear more from Nicole. And it's truly difficult to encapsulate just how hypocritical and distorted Nicole is here. She acknowledges that the conversation they just had didn't go that well and wants it to go better in person.
He said he's gonna come over and get his stuff. I'm hoping that maybe the conversation goes better in person.
And that she's conflicted because part of her still loves Mahmoud and part of her basically hates him.
Some part of me wants things to work and another part of me just wants him to just go.
But ultimately, she thinks that the two of them have to have a conversation about what's going on with the two of them.
I think we need to have a conversation about what's actually going on.
Also, I can't tell if she looks more like a French painter or a mime. So, I don't know, discuss below, let me know your thoughts. So Mahmoud walks in, looking uncomfortable as heck, as he does the whole "we just broke up and now I gotta grab my stuff" walk through the apartment.
Hey.
Hi.
You wore those?
Yeah.
While Nicole is as stiff and cold as one of her mannequins, arms folded, staring at him intensely.
Where you staying?
I don't know yet.
You don't know?
No.
It's an awkward situation. But then Nicole has to complain in a one-on-one that Mahmoud is just so uncooperative. He clearly doesn't want to work things out with how much of an ass he's being to me right now.
I can tell right away that he has no interest in discussing anything. He goes right for his suitcase. It's just like a bad attitude, and he's being really with me.
Does Nicole have any self-awareness? She really thinks that she opened the door all warm and inviting, like she was really buttering Mahmoud up to talk about the problems and work things out, when in reality, she was sitting there staring at him like this the whole time.
It's strange to me that he doesn't have any desire to want things to be better.
Wow, I can't believe he doesn't want to work things out. So ridiculous.
For the last 4 years, that's all you've done, actually.
And now, with his stuff in tow, Mahmoud starts putting his shoes on to leave, and I guess because he's not really putting up a fight, just like last night, Nicole then takes it upon herself to start her own fight.
What are you doing?
I will go find some hotel to stay.
You act like you've been here in LA like for 20 years or something. You can just, go and get a hotel room and just...
What is this serving, Nicole? You just wanted to ridicule him a little bit more before he left?
You asked me to take our...
But then I did tell you to stay.
After what you did around your friend?
You didn't go and meet them, which is so messed up.
What's the point, Nicole? She's like, why are you leaving? He says, because you were mean. And she goes, well, I was mean because you're a bad person. Like, what is the point of that? How can you say that you want to talk and you want to figure things out between the two of them, and then whenever he tries to bring up anything about his side of the events, you then blow up and yell at him about it? Like, what's that gonna do? Okay, my partner, my love, I really want to make this work, so I'm gonna ask you, why were you upset last night? Because you yelled at me? Well, I only yelled at you because you were such a dipshit, okay? That's so messed up. She's 40 years old, and that is her level of skill in conflict resolution. So she yells at him about how everything with them is just so terribly wrong and how he sucks. And he's like, okay, well, that's why I'm going, because you keep yelling at me and saying that everything sucks and telling me I should go. So yeah, I'm going now. And she's like, well, you're the one who kept saying you wanted a divorce. And he's like, yeah, I still want that.
You're the one who told me you wanted to get a divorce like 20 times yesterday.
And I still want that.
And that seems to be the last straw with Nicole, because then we get Nicole treating Mahmoud like a dog again.
Then go. Then yeah, go.
Mahmoud finally leaves, reflects on their relationship, how he loves her and feels very alone, but that ultimately the relationship is over and the episode ends.
I really love here and I want here, but I can't do. No way, I can't take this anymore.
This was not a particularly long episode with the two of their scenes together. And yet, already we have a very clear motif in this episode with Nicole seemingly not being able to understand or recognize her actions and her behavior at all. In this episode alone, we saw Nicole claim that she did everything in the relationship for 4 years and is still waiting to see when Mahmoud ever has to try.
When does he have to try?
We saw her almost acknowledge that what she did last night was wrong, but then immediately blames everything on Mahmoud and says it is all his fault for making her angry. By the way, remember when she said to her friends before Mahmoud arrived that she felt bad about what she did, and I said that would come up later? Well, when I went back and watched it again, I realized that she didn't actually say that then. That was a voiceover.
I wish that you guys didn't see that. I'm embarrassed, actually.
You hear how the audio quality sounds like it's from the one-on-ones and not from a live microphone?
I'm embarrassed, actually. 4 years, I've done nothing but try. I need you to tell me what you're gonna do.
That's partially a reminder that this show is edited and Frank and destined together to paint a narrative. But also, if it is a voiceover, then we can't even say for certain that Nicole had that little bit of self-awareness at the time. Then we saw Nicole say that Mahmoud's big adjustments to coming all the way to America and uprooting his entire life has caused nothing but problems for her. Not, this adjustment has been hard for us, or I know this has been hard for you, but it's been hard for me too. No, nothing like that. And lastly, perhaps the clearest example of her lack of self-awareness and her maturity levels is when she wanted to have a conversation with Mahmoud, and when it didn't happen, she just blamed it all on him.
And he has just like a bad attitude, and he's being really with me. Then go. Then yeah, go.
It's as if because she wanted to talk things out that she just assumed that she did everything she can to try to make it happen. And therefore, when it didn't happen, it just must be all Mahmoud's fault. Like, no, this is just a really awkward situation. He just spent the night away from you. You know, you're coming back after the fight. It's awkward. You're like, hi, hey, how you doing? Good. Yep. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable for anybody. She's awkward and uncomfortable too. And yet, instead of any acknowledgments that maybe just the situation is weird or things just didn't happen, she just has this idea in her head that she's just doing everything and Mahmoud is just sitting there being an asshole to her. That's just an absolutely ridiculous way of thinking to me. And from my perspective, these all look like examples of an extreme level of self-centered thinking from Nicole. I do everything right. Mahmoud does everything wrong. It's all about me. It's all about my sacrifice, how I'm the victim, how I'm doing everything right. He never does anything. He doesn't understand me. It's just no awareness. And it's really frustrating to watch. But as this may be the last time we see them on the screen, I think it's time I address the elephant in the room. On February 20th, 2024, Mahmoud was arrested in Los Angeles for misdemeanor DV. Apparently, his friend posted bail for Mahmoud the next day, and as the story goes, he then flew to Egypt back afterwards. And apparently, sometime later, the charges were dropped. Now, again, I'm no legal expert, and none of us were there, so none of us can really truly know what actually happened. But it's also my understanding, and if you have more experience in this, then definitely feel free to correct me in comments down below. But my understanding is that basically anytime the cops have to come to a house and respond to a DV call, that basically you always have to take one of the two people away to go to jail that night. You have to separate them after a fight. And it's my impression, again, just from the things I've heard, that kind of regardless of who might be in the right or wrong, maybe the cops show up and it's just a fight, it's not really clear what's going on, that 9 times out of 10, they're gonna take the guy away to go to jail. And to be clear, the reason why I mention all that is not to suggest that Mahmoud must be innocent and this was definitely a made-up charge from Nicole. No, not at all. I'm mentioning all that to actually... Every video has to have one. I'm mentioning all that not to say that Mahmoud must be innocent, but to actually say that just because there is this DV charge isn't necessarily the case that he's guilty. So I'm not saying he's innocent at all. Not what I'm saying. Don't accuse me of that. I'm saying I have absolutely no idea, but that some people might hear, oh, he was arrested for the DV charge, therefore he must have laid hands on her, and that is what the court decided. My understanding is that isn't necessarily the case. But back to the show at least. If this is the last time we see Nicole and Mahmoud on 90 Day Fiance, that does raise some questions for me. Did the arrest occur during or after filming? Because if Mahmoud does leave for Egypt after this fight we see on screen, then that would imply to me that the arrest must have happened during filming, and maybe the show just cut around that. If that was the case, that would help to explain some of Nicole's anger and hostility towards Mahmoud in that moment, because maybe there was this whole other really nasty fight that they got in that might be fueling some of her anger in this moment. But again, and this is all just my personal opinion, that seems a little unlikely to me. I can't imagine there being an actual legal situation regarding DV on the sets, and the show thinks it's a good idea to just cut around it and remove all references to it. As low as TLC can get with their casting, they usually avoid that kind of controversy. On the other hand, we have seen TLC cut storylines short when something occurs after or during the airing of the show. Caleb and Alina come to mind, where after some unsavory social media posts were discovered about Alina, TLC ended up cutting their storyline mid-season and abruptly ended it. So I wonder, is that what we're seeing here with Nicole and Mahmoud? Did Nicole and Mahmoud originally have more content? And then when the producers found out about this whole DV thing, they and the editors all got together to rush to make this fight the thing that ended it all between them, just so they could finish up the storyline early? I don't know. I have no idea. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Big shout out to all of you channel members for making this kind of content possible, with an extra special thank you to Nancy Jones for being a producer of this channel. Let me know what you thought about Nicole and Mahmoud in the comments down below, and until next time, I'll see you later.